Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the SOS-radio.com podcast. My name is Jason Nhyte, your host into the unknown, and I'm joined by two of my members this evening, Mr. Joe Erie.
Hello.
Hello. Theorist, clairsensitive,
and pun
musician,
maker.
SOS member. And I'm also joined by our producer extraordinaire,
the guy
Oscar
with the
Spector.
equipment. Yes.
The guy with the equipment.
The big equipment.
That's what I said.
So how you doing, Oscar?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I'm doing well.
Getting drunk, which is great.
We have our liquor flowing. We are short one member this evening. Dave Black is not with us today. Wah, wah, wah. He is, as a lot of you guys know, he is a very successful produce. He has a very successful produce company, and he is out harvesting at the moment in Middle Florida. He's harvesting citrus. Actually, he's going to be bringing it back to Chicago, and he does very, very, very well with his business. So he will not be joining us tonight.
Yeah, it takes him on the road sometimes.
Yeah, so it's going to be the three of us, and I'm actually joined by my mother.
Unofficially, yes. She has no mic on her, unfortunately.
My mother is here to observe this episode because we're going to be doing a couple things in this episode that she doesn't approve of, and I almost caught a slap when I told her what this episode was going to be about. So she's here to observe and make sure we're safe. Ma, Miss Sue Knight, could you say hello?
Hi, guys. Nice to be here.
Thank you. As I said, we're going to be doing something a little different today since Dave isn't here. You know, guys, he's an essential member of this organization.
A chatty essential.
But he's very chatty, but, you know, he's the Scully, self-admitted Scully. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, while the cat's away, the
although Scully was a doctor.
Well, he's the curmudgeon, he's the Scully, he wants to rationalize everything to death, and that's okay. That's what makes supernatural occurrence studies so successful, I think, is because we do have all these different mindsets coming forth and putting out theories. So,
Word.
But, you know, when the cat's away, the mice will play. I'm not saying we're mice and he's the cat, but still, you get the gist.
Yeah.
So I wanted to today, live or time-release radio version anyway, I wanted to do the very viral Charlie Charlie Challenge, which happened in May 2015. Took the world by storm, seemingly for about a month. I want to do the Charlie Charlie Challenge live here. And second segment of the show, we're going to do the Ouija board. I've had a lot of people write the website asking about Ouija board. Do we do it? What are our thoughts on the Ouija board?
And we will give them.
So I figured, you know what, this would be, when we don't have the biggest skeptic in the world sitting with us, figured this would be a good opportunity to do the Ouija live.
Yep. Sounds good to me. That's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you. I thought it would work. I thought it would be interesting. And since a lot of people have been asking about it. So we're going to do it. But we'll get into that second half of the show. First half of the show is going to be the Charlie Charlie Challenge. We're going to do that live. Some people claim it works. Millions of people actually claimed it worked. Millions of people claimed it didn't work. So we're going to try to set it straight once and for all.
Right.
Here tonight. First, though, let's do a quick catch-up. I haven't seen you guys in 2 weeks. Oscar, happy birthday, brother.
Oh,
you're a New Year's baby.
You.
40 minutes after New Year's was your birthday.
40-something. That's what my mom told me. I'm believing her.
I would probably. She was probably there.
I should think she was there for it.
True story.
So she hated that day. Like, the nurse is like, "Happy New Year!" Like, I'm delivering a baby.
So happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you. 32. That's it.
32. God.
32.
Wow. Known you forever.
I know way too much. I'm sick of you, honestly.
I don't even like who invited this guy. I don't even like him. Joe, what's going on with you, man?
Yeah, same old stuff. I mean, a couple more experiences since last time.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's start. You know what I like to do always is my Mr. Lincoln report. Again, we're at week 8 or 9 since we started doing this podcast. No sightings on my end of Mr. Lincoln.
Well, he's hibernating. It is the season for that.
It is the season. It's been cold as hell. I wouldn't have known, though, because I was in Florida for the last week. But no sightings on my end.
I was watching the news, and some trucker, I think, went through the Lincoln Memorial. Did you hear about that?
No.
I guess he went to go turn around and drove over some tombstones.
Oh, that's not funny.
Not good.
But you're laughing.
That's not good.
But he's laughing.
He's cursed. That guy's. Yeah. He's going to get
me
his...
or
no, him. Obviously.
Yeah.
Or her.
I did.
Yeah.
I saw that. I heard that in the news.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So-
guess he was trying to bust a Yui and got lost, supposedly, and
Desecrated some tombstones. Yeah, people are up in arms about that.
yeah, it's kind of bad.
Guys, it was an accident.
But still.
I know, but I mean, the
maybe-
curse is on him already.
Right, yeah.
I mean, punishment enough. Can we just say?
So, Mr. Lincoln Report, nothing to report. I did, however, have some stuff, and Joe will get into your story in a moment. Okay. But mentioned last podcast, the Christmas edition, that I was taking my family to St. Augustine, Florida. And Dave accurately pointed out that St. Augustine is at the top of Florida.
Yeah, that was a
the
fun
northeast
little debate.
corner.
That was a fun little debate.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know why I left it in there, honestly.
They're very. You should have edited me out.
No,
Could have made
that
me
was-
sound better.
No, you guys should sound as shitty as sometimes you do.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we went to St. Augustine, and we drove because I hate to fly. Took my family down there. It was me and my wife, my 2 kids in the car, and we did have some experiences on the trip. We had 2 actually. They weren't Mr. Lincoln, although I don't know if it was Mr. Lincoln, but so we drove down to St. Augustine, right? Our first stop of the night, when we were on our way down, it was about an 18-hour drive, was in Kennesaw, Georgia. Kennesaw. It's about 40 miles outside of Atlanta. That was our first stay. It was at a Marriott. I'm a Marriott guy. I have tons of Marriott points. So I stayed at a Marriott.
And sponsored the show, by the way.
Marriott just sponsored it. Yeah, pay me. So that was our first stop, Kennesaw, Georgia, Marriott, 40 miles outside of Atlanta. We got in about 1:30 in the morning. Place was a ghost town. I'm unloading the car. So Katie's like, my wife is like, I'm going to go into the hotel. You know, I checked in, went back out to the car, started unloading. She's like, well, I'll go take the kids and a bunch of stuff into the hotel room. Give me the key. I said, okay. So I give her the key. And I'm unloading the car, cleaning up the back seat. The kids had torn up the back seat, toys, food, and everything else. So kind of straighten everything up, and Katie comes back out with the kids about 10 minutes later. And she's got this weird look on her face. I'm like, what's wrong? And she said, there was someone in our room. I said, what do you mean there was someone in our room? It's 1:30 in the morning in Kennesaw, Georgia. Who the hell was in our room?
Georgians.
Georgians? Georgians?
Walking Dead cast.
So, right, yeah, CDC's there, CNN. So she said she walked into the bedroom. She walked into the room. Everything was dark except for in one bedroom. Lights were on. TV was blasting. The sheets of the bed were pulled back. One corner was pulled back perfectly to kind of form kind of like a triangle. And the pillows were propped up like someone was lounging, relaxing, or had just been there. They were kind of sitting on the bed. Said the sheet was kind of crumpled or whatever. So that kind of freaked her out. She didn't know if anyone was in the room. She had the kids with her. So she grabbed the kids, went to the front desk, said, hey, there's someone in our room, or someone was just in our room. What's the deal? So she came out and told me. I'm like, oh, my God. So now I'm thinking there's some creeper hiding in a closet or under a bed. You know, it's my family. You don't know fear until you have a family. You know what I mean? True fear until you have a wife and kids.
I don't want to know.
You come up with the craziest scenarios of things that could happen to harm your family. So I went storming into the hotel, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, I'm a Gold Elite member. You know, this isn't right. What's the story? She's like, sir. I have no idea what's going on. No one was in that room today. No one's in that room yesterday. Maid cleaned it 2 days ago, and it's been vacant since. She goes, I know and it was right down the hall from the front desk. It wasn't on like the fourth floor back corner somewhere far. It was right down the hall from the front desk. And she's like, I know nobody's been in that room. So I'm like, well, what are we going to do here? She's like, well, we don't have any other rooms. You know, everything else is filled up. I could put you in another hotel, another Marriott, free of charge. I said, no, we've been driving, at that point, probably 14 hours with stopping and things. I said, no. She goes, well, do you want me to change the sheets? I'm like, well, let me go check out the room. So I go into the room. This is where it gets even more weird. I go into the room. My wife takes me into the bedroom, and she shows me how everything's set up. Right? And it does look like someone had just been there chilling, relaxing. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I do is like, all right, take the kids into the front room. This was a suite. Take the kids into the front room. I'm going to start going through the closets of each. There were 2 bedrooms. I went through the closets. I want to go to the bathroom. I'm looking behind shower curtains. There was no one in the place. So I go back into what would be the kids' room for the night, and I open the closet door again. Just did one more final look through. I looked up to make sure, there was no access panel in the closets. A lot of homes, have access panels in the closets
Right.
when there's an attic. Yeah, man, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking someone's hiding out. Someone's going to jump down when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, sometimes people, they cut holes in the walls or peep on neighbors.
Right. So these are things that go through my mind. So I go into the room. I open up the closet door, and I leave it open. Go out of the room into the front room where my family is. I said, there's nothing here. I'm kicking under the bed. The under the bed is solid. There's no space under the bed, which a lot of hotels do now, so I guess you don't hide dead hookers under the bed or something.
Like in 4 rooms.
Like in 4 rooms, exactly. So, the beds are solid. Everything's done. And I was in the front room for 30 seconds talking to Katie, telling her everything's cool. Let's just start unpacking. We'll get someone to come in and change the sheets. Go back, turn around and go back into that room that would be my kids' room where I left the closet door open. The goddamn closet door was closed. I was like, all right, that was really weird, right? Something closed that closet door. And I know I didn't close the closet door. I was tired or whatever, but I was amped up at that point because of what was going on,
Yeah, you're hyper aware.
Thank you. Yeah, good way to put it. I was hyper aware. No one went into that bedroom. I opened the door, go out to the front room, explain to Katie what's going on, go back into the room, door's closed. What the hell?
And the lady at the front desk, she was very ready to change your room. Huh? So did she know something? Or?
Well, it turns into another little story in the morning with the new front desk person.
Because
she was
really quick.
I was like, dude, that was really weird. And I told Katie, we didn't tell the kids, I told Katie. So she's like, what do you want to do? I said, I don't want to drive anymore. Let's just put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Hopefully everything works out fine. No one comes out and kills it. Let's just go through with this. So we finally unpack. We get the kids to bed. It took forever. They didn't like that room. They finally went to bed. I took a shower. My wife went to bed. Get out of the shower. I climb into bed. Put my head back, pull the covers over myself. Katie's fast asleep. I start feeling something tugging on the damn blankets by my feet. Something's moving, pulling the blanket down and away, like trying to pull the blanket down and away. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going up, like someone was kicking their foot up. It was pulling out. And I'm like, shit, what is this? Exhaustion eventually took over. I fell asleep. Nothing else happened. Get up the next morning. It was like, rush, rush, rush. Come on, we got to go. We got to hit the road. We got to be in St. Augustine. We have plans, reservations. So we check out, pack up the car. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back in and I'm going to talk to the front desk. So this dude was at the front desk, young black kid. I'm like, hey, and as I checked out, he's like, oh, I heard what happened last night. Doc, something was in your room. And I'm like, man, let me tell you what happened. I'm like, this is really crazy. He's like, yeah, I read it here in your notes. I'm like, all right, let me tell you what happened so you don't think I'm nuts. And I told him the story, just like I did now. And he goes, you know what, I don't think you're nuts. He goes, I've had stuff happen up here in this lobby late at night. He's like, I'll be in the back in the manager's office, surfing the internet or doing paperwork, whatever. And I'll hear the sliding glass doors open. And it'll sound like someone walks into the lobby that has like hard-soled shoes or whatever. And I run out to go greet a guest or who's coming in at this odd hour of the night, and there's nobody there. Check the security cameras, door opens, no one comes in. So it happened to him quite often, and a lot of people made fun of him, made jokes about it or whatever. So he's like, I believe you because it happens to me up here. So I said, watch that room 115, Kennesaw, Georgia Marriott.
It's like the innkeepers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so I had that happen. And that was very strange.
You know how you're saying, too, you're laying in bed and you felt like somebody grabbing your foot? And you're like, oh.
Blanket. They were grabbing my blanket.
Oh, your blanket. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, look, you ever get to, you see something in the side of your eye and you're like, oh, is my mind playing tricks with me? No, I didn't see it. I'm going to ignore it. And you you kind of like blow it off like, oh, it's nothing. And you see it again, you're like...
You mean while you're falling asleep?
No, I'm just saying like when you're just like watching TV or something.
Oh, all the time.
Like, what the hell was that? But then all of a sudden, you like look and there's a fruit fly, and you're like, okay, my mind isn't playing tricks.
It's never a fruit fly. I think my mind.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like so.
How great would it be if we find out that ghosts can make fruit flies apparate out of thin air, and that's the way to explain the way out of it.
But it's like it's always the times when you're actually looking for something, you're like, you see something, you're like, whoa. I saw a shadow, but the one time when you actually do see something and you're like, yeah, I don't know, it's not definite enough. But then actually winds up to be something. So when you actually do see a shadow and you're like, whoa, I saw something, it's even more definite because, it was there.
It's true.
And why does things always happen at hotels? I mean, there's a lot of people that go through.
Oh, my God.
A lot of dead hookers, man.
A lot of people go to hotels just to die.
You know what? When you were talking about the dead hookers underneath the bed, that was
a joke, but yeah.
Huh? Well,
it's from a movie. We were quoting a movie, but
my grandma, one of her friends, they would go to Vegas a lot. Okay, one of her friends was staying out in Vegas, and it was the day number 2. These people were banging on the door. They came in. They started searching the room. They're like, "Come on, you guys got to leave." And as they were pulling them out, they lift up the bed. There was a dead body underneath.
No.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what hotel it was?
I can ask her again.
Yeah, find out. That's cool.
I got to find out. But they comped them for a lot of stuff.
I would hope so.
Yeah, 'cause they actually saw the body and they were scarred. They were sleeping on it. Yeah, above a dead body.
What? When was this? Do you know roughly?
I mean, it had to be like at least 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so Mob was pretty much out of it.
I remember I was younger.
Got it. This wasn't in like the 50s, 60s.
No.
Okay, when the mob was.
No, I mean, well,
not doing that on a regular basis.
Yeah, on a regular basis.
Although there's a desert there, there's plenty of holes you can fucking dig up.
It's a great. We got to find out more about that. That's horrible.
I'll ask her about that.
It's not you're excited, but it's horrible.
Well, you love that.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You're saying there's a lot of people that travel.
There was
lonely people.
There was a holodome. I travel for a living. You guys know that. I travel the entire Midwest, as well as California, New York, Atlanta, and Texas. I travel over the country, in other words, Florida, for work. So I was staying at a holodome in Indiana, some old holodome that they just reopened in Indiana, and it felt like at night something was it was like sitting on my bed. I don't know if I ever told you that, Ma. Yeah, some creepy old holodome. They don't even have holodomes anymore, but there's one open in Indiana. And I had something weird happen there, too. So I don't know what it is about hotels. It's just the constant traffic, the vibes, the energy, a lot of loneliness. Being on the road sucks, I'll tell you. So who knows? But people...
American Horror Story.
Yeah. So I want to speed this up, just get through my story, because I want to hear about your story, because you had something pretty crazy happen this week yourself. No, don't be sorry, Dave.
Yeah, right. Great.
Kidding, Dave. Love you.
Dave number 2, son of a bitch.
So we get up. I talk to the dude at the front desk. He tells me that he's also having experiences, that he believes me that something happened. So I'm like, okay, wow, that was pretty cool.
He gets made fun of, right? Yeah.
And he gets made fun of by his coworkers, right? So I was like, yeah, podcast material. This is perfect. So that happened. So we get to St. Augustine.
I should give you a mic on the road and just interview people. And
we're going to start doing that in future episodes. Take this thing to go. So we get to St. Augustine. Now I love St. Augustine. It's my 3rd time there. It's the nation's oldest city. It's 450 years old. Settled by the Spanish in 1565. 450 years old. Many people actually make the mistake and think that New Orleans, Louisiana, is the nation's oldest city. But she only rings in at 297 years old. She was settled in 1718. So St. Augustine beats NOLA by 150 years.
And also, we got to realize the context.
153 years.
The context provides a lot of things there, because it's the oldest city in this country.
Correct.
Because,
settled by the Spanish.
Europe have thousands.
Oh, right. No, the oldest city in the U.S. Thank you. I should have said U.S. Oldest city in the U.S. Settled by the Spanish in 1565, 450 years ago. Louisiana settled 297 years ago. In 1718. So as I said, St. Augustine is the oldest city, but a lot of people make the mistake thinking New Orleans is. But Augustine's older by 153 years. St. Augustine is said to be the 3rd most haunted city in the U.S., while New Orleans is believed by most people to be the 1st.
What's the second?
Some argue that, perfect, thank you, segue. Some argue that Savannah, Georgia, is actually the 2nd most haunted city. I've been there as well.
Now I know why I hate going to those places.
Yeah.
No,
so
I'm kidding.
New Orleans 1, St. Augustine 3, Savannah, Georgia 2.
Well, I've been to New Orleans, but not for ghost hunting.
Yeah, I've been to New Orleans
75 times?
12 times.
Okay.
Soon it's going to be my 13th. So I've been in New Orleans, I've been to Savannah, Georgia, I've been to St. Augustine. I would say St. Augustine edges out Savannah, Georgia. In my opinion, personal opinion only. So here we are. We're this old city, right? Ancient city, by all sense of the word. So what do? Take our kids on a ghost tour. because that's what I do.
Right.
My mom's laughing at me. 7.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old on like a close to midnight ghost tour. That's how we do. So one of the places we stop is the old jail. They call it the old jail, or Old St. John's County Jail. Old St. John's County Jail.
I'll say that 3 times.
No, in St. Augustine, Florida. So it's either Old Jail or Old St. John's County Jail, St. Augustine, Florida. Built in 1891 by the Pauley Jail Company, who interestingly later in history were the same company that built Alcatraz. And you tour this jail. They have solitary confinement. They have a general population. It held about just under 100 prisoners when it was at full capacity. So we're not talking about an Alcatraz-size building.
And also, people had to imprison less people back then than we do now.
Well, right, yeah.
Right, so.
Yeah, it wasn't a business back
It's a big number back then.
It's small, it's creepy, it's heavy.
Heavy.
It's dark. You get that heavy, you know what I mean? You get that, Joe, you know what
I guess so, yeah. I think I know what you mean.
That something just isn't right here. People are known to get slapped, pushed downstairs, scratched, hair pulled. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't regulated like it was now, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Deaths, they would hang people for stealing, back in those days. So we tour this old jail, the old St. Augustine jail. And they have the original gallows there, out back. In solitary confinement, actually, the only view, people who stayed in the 2 solitary confinement cells, solitary confinement was also death row, which they don't do today. But the only view of those 2 cells, solitary confinement / death row, was the gallows. So you're sitting in here, you're condemned to die.
It's a terrible
and the
view.
The only view you have is what
fate.
is going to kill you.
That's a terrible
So we got
view.
to go into those cells, we got to go into general population, it was really cool, really creepy. And then we go outside. And when we go outside to the gallows, there's a character actor who's dressed as a prisoner from the day.
Oh, really?
Telling the story. So as it turns out, 8 men were hanged on these gallows throughout the jail's history. Closed, I believe, actually took its last prisoner in the late 50s, if I remember correct, 1950s. But it saw 8 men hanged for crimes including vagrancy, theft. Imagine today being put to death for vagrancy or theft. And, of course, murder.
Less bums.
There would be. I don't know. You're saying that's a good thing? That's horrible.
There'll be less bums out there.
There would be.
Yeah. I'm just stating fact. I'm not really saying
All right.
it's good or bad.
So there was one notorious prisoner that all the tour guides there talk about. His name was Sim Jackson. He was hanged in 1908 after murdering his wife with a straight razor, nearly decapitating her. And he was hanged for his crime.
Yeah. He really went at it.
He did. So, and he was nearly decapitated, so he was hanged for his crimes on those gallows. And that's the story the character actor focuses on when you're taking this tour. So we're out there watching the tour. A very good character actor. I was totally into it. The whole crowd was into it. There was about 20 of us. And I gave my iPhone to my daughter, Talia Nhyte. She's 7.5. So I gave her my cell phone, an iPhone, to just take pictures during the ghost tour. Just go nuts.
Oh, okay.
So she's taking pictures of everything and everyone. Everyone on the tour just loved her. She was so lively and active and asking questions and into it. And so we get through the tour. Finish up our vacation. We come home and we start flipping through our photographs. Came to the batch of photographs on my iPhone from the old jail tour. And we're going through the photos. There was nothing there. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Blank, just random shots. Till it gets to the gallows. And there's this one photograph that my daughter took, 3rd-generation ghost hunter, that seems to show an apparition, a ghost, an energy, hanging out under the gallows, pun intended. You can see this photograph on sos-radio.com website. Go to your photos and videos and look for a photo called Gallows Ghost. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys seen it yet.
Alliteration works for you there, by the way.
Thank you. I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah.
So sos-radio.com, photos, videos, go to Gallows Ghost, and you can see the photo I'm talking about. You'll see the original photo of the gallows, underneath which you see this little, an anomaly, something strange is there.
Right.
So I blew up the picture, didn't alter it in any way. We never alter any of our photos. That's a no-no. I just blew it up, took a screenshot, cut and paste, and create a second photo of the blow-up. And sure enough, that anomaly looks just like a young man, roughly the age of Sim Jackson, who was in his, I believe, early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. Black hair, see the ears, see the nose. My daughter claims you could see like a frowning mouth. And an arm with a hand, with what looks like a knife coming out of his hand, hanging out underneath the gallows. The only anomalous photo that was captured on that tour. Make of it what you will.
Right, that's pretty cool.
I think it looks just like it. Other people who've seen it claims it looks just like it. And so, I'm wondering, did my daughter capture this Mr. Sim Jackson?
Right, the straight razor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of words, that was my experience over the past 2 weeks. Kennesaw and the gallows in St. Augustine.
Dude, it got me beat. I think what did I see? I've been rewatching The Wire. That's all I've been doing. Great goddamn show. I love that show. I think Joe
did have something really sad. It's very unfortunate.
Oh, is it? I didn't know.
It's very interesting. Joe, could you tell us what happened to you the past 2 weeks?
Yeah. Well, I've been having dreams. My teeth have been falling out. Well, actually, I've been ripping them out.
So what does that mean?
I don't know, but like the last time I had that dream, it probably was like a 2-week dream. I dream in fragments, almost like little like short movie clips. I'll dream something, it'll end. Then I'll dream something else, end. But I mean, I would say about, it seems like, I don't know, 5 minutes. But anyway, they're all different little clips. It's not just a continuous.
Okay.
Well, at least that's how you remember them, right?
Well, that's how I remember.
What I meant is, what do you think the
By heart.
teeth?
Well,
what do the teeth mean?
The first time I had this dream about teeth is, I'm pulling out my teeth, and don't know really why, but it's a.
Do they come off as easy as like in The Fly? You're just pulling shit out of his face.
Well, it's basically kind of like my teeth feels just sore, and I feel like it's like my teeth are decaying. Or
I've had those dreams many times.
I'm pulling my teeth out, and I'm like, oh my god, my tooth fell out. Oh, my tooth's loose. I go and I pull it out, and I'm starting to get scared. I'm starting to get nervous. Then all of a sudden, they're all falling out. But every day, more and more teeth would fall out, and eventually, I'm ripping them all out. The first time this happened, it lasted for a week.
You were having these dreams for a week straight.
Yeah. It ended, my neighbor died, and it was someone I was kind of closer to, where I'd see him every day and say hi, and it kind of scared the shit out of me. I was like,
a lot of people say that those teeth pulling, teeth falling out dreams mean impending death.
Yeah.
I always took those dreams to mean big change. Big change is coming. You're nervous about something changing.
Yeah. Anything with money.
Death or change.
It can mean a lot of things.
Which death is change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's something we talk about as SOS.
Right.
All the time.
As a card in the tarot world, it doesn't mean so ominous. It means change in tarot card readings, for example.
Yeah.
Death doesn't mean ominous shit. It could mean ominous shit, but it doesn't have to be.
I mean, 'cause at the end of the day, too, like death, in us, death, the end, but I mean, when you die, you might just move on to something else.
Right, something that we take
better.
photographs of all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just change.
So for you, though, you think it means death.
I mean, someone's going to move on to the next place.
Okay.
Okay, if that
Good.
makes sense. Which, death, it's not, just sad or, the end, you're never going to see him again. It's change. Like, you just,
They'll move to that hotel and the leftovers.
Yeah. So, anyway, just recently, I started having these dreams again. And my grandpa's getting older. I did have a dream that I saw him dying with my family, and we're holding him. I'm watching him die, and I was like, "Shit!" I'm like, "My grandpa's gonna die soon." But I would have these dreams too. My teeth are falling out, but they're not completely connected. They're kind of they get cut off. It's kind of hard to explain. I know the difference because I visually see it, but each dream means a different thing. But I've been having these dreams, every dream, more and more teeth would fall out. It stopped. A couple days later.
Now, this is within, the last week?
Yeah, last week.
Okay.
So, a couple days later, my wife calls me, freaking out. One of my friends hung themselves. I really don't even know what to say about that.
Sorry to hear that.
It sucks.
I'm sorry,
Things happen. But I thought back to, holy shit.
I have this dream of...
this is happening again, and
teeth.
I'm not making stuff up. And my wife, because I would tell my wife, I know something's going to happen.
Wow.
So, and she's like, I didn't want to say anything to you. And my wife doesn't have that, she really don't believe in it. But she said that night before, she had dreamed that her teeth fell out.
The night before
weird.
he died?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I was like... Whoa.
And you did not incept her, right?
You didn't tell her? You didn't...
No, she knows,
No, I was just saying a joke about the movie.
Oh.
Like, put the mind machine...
No, but I mean,
through.
she knows,
But, yes.
I could sense things, but I don't know if she actually believes it 100%. She might be skeptic, but...
What did she say when you both had the teeth pull dream?
No, she was kind of weirded out.
Okay.
And it was kind of cool that she actually experienced it too, and we related to that. Because, we don't bullshit,
Exactly.
But so later on that night, we actually, we had to go to his apartment, visit our friends, the girlfriend, family members, and
so this was the apartment of the person
where he hung himself.
Okay.
So as soon as we walked in, I haven't been in that apartment yet because they just moved in. As soon as I walked in, I knew right away which corner there was something at, and I didn't even know there was a bedroom over there. I thought it was just a corner. We walked in. Later on, I found out there was a bedroom in that corner, and that's actually the bedroom.
Was it
where
kind
he
of
hung
hidden,
himself.
or was it kind of a hidden bedroom, or how did?
Basically, it's the entrance is in the middle of the apartment complex, and then you walk in to a living room. And in the corner of the living room, there's a bedroom.
Okay.
So,
an odd place, kind of, for a bedroom.
Very odd place. I would never even think there would be a bedroom there because
Wow.
even like the way like the floor plans and stairs.
But you
would
knew,
be, which is weird.
You knew.
And that kind of creeped me out because I didn't know that there was a room there.
No,
I knew.
When I say
I
knew that something happened.
Exactly. I've been seeing I didn't really feel anything. I just felt like an uncomfortableness where it was something just happened. Like it was almost like a transition period. It wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a bad feeling. It was just kind of like a spirit, like a spirit there. Like it was kind of like just nervous or a transition like period. It was a really weird feeling. I really haven't gotten before, but I knew it's kind of just fresh. Basically that's a good way to explain it. Fresh. Okay. I felt that it was a fresh, thing.
And yeah, you're kind of making, people can't see it, of course, but you're making kind of these waving motions with your hands as you're saying transition.
Yeah.
What are you trying to express there?
Energy. Basically, okay. I felt a new form of energy that basically something that just happened. Almost like, for an example, you witness a car accident. There's a death scene. Okay, you see dead bodies. That feeling where it's like, ugh, like something just happened, and you could. I mean, even if you don't have that, psychic ability, you could feel that energy that something just took place.
Okay.
Basically, that's the feeling I got. Something dramatic just happened, but I didn't feel anything besides that. Just saw things in my peripheral vision. The one thing that I very rarely happens. I was standing with my wife talking to some friends, and all of a sudden the bathroom door opened right away. It wasn't like somebody stepped down the door, or the floor moved a little and the door creaked a little. The door shot open. It moved dramatically. In
plain view of multiple.
Right in front of me and my wife. I looked at my wife. I'm like, holy shit. And she said, shut up. She didn't want me to say anything, and I'm obviously not going to say anything. There's family members, the girlfriends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it was kind of just something like, holy shit, did that just happen?
Wow.
Very rarely I witness things.
Yeah,
like
it's usually not that blatant.
Yeah. A couple times, I've witnessed it, but I haven't witnessed something like that for a while. That was it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story. It's a sad story, but it's pretty interesting, pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guys, I got nothing on you guys.
Well, something though, like that, we were talking about before is when we, were doing it before, a lot of things were happening. I got away from it because I couldn't take it anymore. It was scaring the shit out of me. It's like I'd wake up, at 3:30 in the morning every morning, something standing above me, and it would scare the shit out of me. And I think if once you do it and you have it, and it's almost you're shooting off an energy, and I think they're attracted to you, and you're pulling in all this stuff from all around, and you're getting things that you don't want to get in. For a while, I hated it, and
so
I stopped doing it.
What do you think
I didn't want to.
Today? Do you think you're going to keep up with this?
I think so. I think it's just, I think I'm in a different state of mind now. I'm starting to accept, what I am, and this is what I do, and I mean, it could be scary, but at the end of the day, you got to go with yourself, you got to go just with the flow.
Yeah.
This is what I am. This is what I do.
I've always wondered, I don't know if I've asked you this before. You have a son, correct?
Yeah.
Joey. 11?
He's actually turning 13.
Oh my God. Sorry.
I am going to have a teenager.
13 years old.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That just made my mind spin. Mm-hmm. Did you ever notice him having any of these abilities?
Well,
has he ever said anything to you that made you stop and say, wait a minute? Because obviously my daughter has it. They're a generation little ghost hunter there catching photos.
He did when he was younger, at his mom's house. His mom's house. The person who lived there before died in that house, and in that bedroom was his toy bedroom. I never told him, but he would always tell me. He's like, Dad, it's weird. He's like, my toys keep on going off, like in the bedroom, and. I didn't. What am I going to tell?
Right. Jojo, if you're listening, cover your ears.
Yeah, kid. Well, that bedroom where your toys are at. Yeah, that's where the person that lived before you died.
So toys would go off. Anything else? Did you ever see anything or?
No. I mean, he's into it. He's really interested in it. But
cool. I was just wondering.
Did you? I mean. I know it could be anything, but have you witnessed that too? Because I know everything's energy. You're sleeping in the middle of the night, a toy will go off.
It scares me to death. It happens all the time.
Right?
It's horrible.
Yeah, because it would happen by my house, and it's just like, nothing moved. You don't
sitting
have
dead
animals.
Still watching TV, and then all of a sudden, boom, all the time.
Yeah, and you're like, what?
Yeah, my electricity works just fine.
These aren't it's a kid's toy.
I'm kidding.
So yeah, that was just a question I wanted to ask you. I've been meaning to ask you, and I figured this is the forum.
Yeah, but I remember as a kid, and he would tell me his toys would go off, and it would scare the hell out of him.
Cool. Not cool. I mean,
do you remember anything?
Yeah, not cool. But
when you were a kid,
I don't remember much when I was a kid. My ma, though, I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, my mom's sitting here. She could probably tell stories.
Yeah.
You should debrief your mother for another show.
Something
I would like to.
Out.
She's a little nervous right now, but
I was hanging out by my
no, for another show.
Yeah,
like a couple months ago. I mean, my grandma's getting like a little bit older. She's telling me a lot more things now, and my grandma has what I have, and her mom had that. Too.
Well, I know my mom has it.
Mm-hmm. It's hereditary.
The Eastern European women in my family.
And for some weird reason, we always joke and laugh. It's all the blue-eyed, All of us have blue eyes. That's why I say it,
Yeah.
It's a weird connection. We can get into that later.
Yeah, and go ahead.
My grandma, she's in her 80s, still drinking scotch. We're hanging out
awesome.
drinking it.
European grandmas hang on, man.
Oh, yeah.
They do. They keep going.
But like we're hanging out talking and kind of telling her what we've been doing lately, and she don't tell anyone anything. I really don't tell anyone anything because everyone thinks you're nuts.
No, you need to promote this podcast.
Well, I tell friends, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, we're hanging out, drinking, talking, and I'm like, yeah, you remember when I was little? And like we used to be downstairs and doing the laundry, and we hear people walking up and down upstairs, and there was all this crazy shit that happened at her house.
This is the house on Erie?
My grandma's house. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, something I didn't want to tell you when you were little. Yeah, priest lived here and died here.
Whoa.
And I'm like, well, in the house next door, which my parents lived at the house next door, it's like, my dad was saying recently when he was drunk and it's just kind of blurting out that there was a pilot that lived there. And he died in a plane crash with his son. And my grandma's like, no, that happened at this house. So there's a lot of crazy history at my grandma's house.
Maybe we could do a podcast from there one day.
That'd be fun. Yeah, she would like it. But not too many places where I get strong feelings. I get a lot of strong feelings at my grandma's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And she'll drink us under the table, too.
And she could probably drink us all under the table.
Yeah, she probably will.
Yeah. So Joe, he mentioned about my mom and stuff, and she is here observing. Typically doesn't, but when she found out that we were doing the Ouija board, she got a little angry, and she doesn't like it. She had a bad experience with one when she was young. We'll get into that later. So she's not ready to be queued up today, but we will. She does have stories about me when I was a kid that I don't remember.
Usually involving diapers.
No, I think I was older than that.
Okay.
Older than that. And obviously she was in the house that we talked about in the first episode where all the paranormal activity was happening.
Mm-hmm. With the Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah, or the guy with the shoes and Mr. Lincoln and
you remember
the orbs and the shadows and the voices and things moving and appliances starting. And so she could tell us those stories another day, I think. Yeah. We weren't ready for her today.
No, but that's great. That's for another episode.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's got a lot of stories. She's been, and she was her own paranormal investigator. She turned me on to this stuff, so... She cut the hole in the fence at Bachelor's Grove, right? Police.
Recorded.
Evidence. Well, very good. Very good. I want to do that intro. I like to do it pretty much every episode. So let's move on to the meat of what we were going to really do today.
That was an intro?
What would you call that?
I don't know. It was 42 minutes. More like
no.
It's the first act.
Wow.
It's the first of 3 acts.
When we get together and we could talk. Especially, things have been happening to us lately since we started doing this again.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. Like, now I took a little break from it, started doing it again, and look at how much shit's starting to happen, how much stuff you're seeing.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a lot more stories for you.
And we will.
All right, let's move on.
So moving on. The first exercise that I would want to do today is the Charlie Challenge. It sounds funny, right? Charlie Challenge.
No, the exercise.
But, in May 2015, so we're a little late, but we didn't have the podcast then, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
In May of 2015, in a 48-hour time period, 2 million mentions and hashtags on the net, on the interwebs, were about Charlie Challenge. It went viral. It was global. Everyone was talking about it for about a month and a half. And with Charlie Challenge it's a Ouija board-like game. Like I said, that exploded on social media in May 2015, just this past year, and just had millions and millions and millions of mentions on social media. Mm-hmm. Countless YouTube videos of people doing the Charlie Challenge and what was happening. And, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, millions of people claim it works. Millions of people claim it doesn't work.
Right.
So we're here today to put it to the test and see what happens. Now, in the Charlie Challenge, Charlie, that is hard to say. It's gonna
just call it Charlie.
In the Charlie Challenge, some people believe you're speaking with a little boy who either A, killed himself, or B, was a victim of severe child abuse and was actually killed. Child abuse
or all of the above.
That resulted in death. Others believe that you're speaking with a Mexican demon.
Right, I heard
El
this
Chapo.
one.
El Chapo, who was just caught, you guys said yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Another bit of news there.
Yeah, little shorty.
So, two stories revolve around a kid. One that killed himself or was beaten to death.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a third option that people claim that this is an ancient, secret Mexican demon summoning ritual. There is absolutely no evidence to back up, and you're here, you researched this, Oscar.
Yeah.
You are Hispanic.
Yes, last I checked. Well, let me check
There
again.
is zero evidence anywhere to back up the claim that this is a Mexican demon. So
Correct.
we're calling bullshit on that one right off the gate.
And also, it's Charlie, not like... I can't
wouldn't
even
it be
think
like
of a Mexican...
Carlito challenge?
right.
You know?
Carlito's
It just doesn't
challenge.
have the same ring.
Carlito's Way challenge.
Yeah, Carlito way challenge. Not Charlie.
No.
Correct, Oscar?
Correct.
Okay. So
It is false.
it's like I said, it's a simple Ouija board. In essence, that's made. You need a sheet of paper and 2 pencils. 2 number 2 pencils is what they say.
I think the lead in how it works must do something.
Apparently. So the way you make the Ouija board, like apparati, is you take a sheet of paper and you make a large, perfect plus sign on the piece of paper. Then you add the words yes and no in each quadrant made by the plus sign. So the top left quadrant and the bottom right quadrant should both say yes. And the
the
top
opposites.
right
Yeah.
quadrant, the opposites, and the bottom left quadrant should say no.
Right, and the whole point is that the pencil...
Yeah. So you take 2 number 2 pencils, sharpened.
I don't know why it has
Well,
to be sharpened.
at least I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So you take the 2 pencils and you place them on top of the plus. The first pencil is placed on the vertical axis, pointing up and down. That one doesn't have to be sharpened. The second pencil placed on top, you place it on top of the first pencil on the horizontal axis of the plus. In other words, pointing left and right. Now that one, like I said, has to be sharpened because, in theory, that sharpened point of the pencil will point to a yes or no.
It's similar to a compass.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when you look at a quadrant, let's say it's faint... so that's the vertical, right? The sharpened pencil?
The sharpened pencil is the horizontal.
Oh, the horizontal, sorry.
Correct.
So, like, if the pencil's point, right, the pointed sharpened end, if it's pointed, let's say, to the right, then if that's the compass, so to speak, the thing that makes it move or the thing that leads to the answer to your question, then it'll just hit 2 of the quadrants. It cannot even hit the other 2 at all. So only 2 quadrants matter, really, not 4.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
I thought of that when I saw a few videos. I'm like, why even signify any plus? I mean, it just makes no... I mean, that's why it makes you think like it's a fad and just...
Got
like a
it.
thing.
Yeah, you know...
It's the same answer if you think about it. You know?
Right.
Yeah, and I get it. And it could be still yes or no. I get that, but it's not like it's no
So
point
it's
in
yes
the
or no.
2.
Maybe it's a
fucking-
dramatic effect. This thing just made a 360.
Well, it's definitely dramatic effect.
You know, but that's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you create the quote-unquote Ouija board, and I'm using air quotes. Since it's only yes and no in the quadrants, you could only ask Charlie questions that would elicit a yes or no response. So here's where it, so for example, will I die soon? Does Katie love me?
And also,
Well,
what's
this-
soon? In relative
what about
time...
Charlie? Do you have any
soon
STDs?
Charlie, do you have any STDs?
I mean, I think I want to play 20 questions with Charlie.
Right,
Like, I want to
you
see,
know.
like, Charlie, what,
Yes or no questions. Will this podcast be successful? Will Dave Black ever stop talking? Etc.
Well, we know the answer to one of those.
So here, and again, therein lies the biggest difference between Charlie and a Ouija board. Ouija
Right.
board, you could ask whatever you
Anything.
want. It'll
Anything.
hopefully spell it out for you, give you a yes or no. Or
Yeah, I
leave.
mean, most of my homework was done through Ouija boards. I'm
Right.
kidding.
Yeah.
Research papers, math. It was amazing.
Who settled the U.S.?
I had to
See
put
what the Ouija board says.
the dividing symbol on there and everything, but it's good.
Now, unlike the Ouija board, how I was taught, everyone has their own ritual when it comes to doing a Ouija. Ouija board, would you please send me a spirit? That's how we were always taught to start a Ouija board session.
Sure.
We'll get into that. With Charlie, with the Charlie challenge, you start with, Charlie, can we play? Charlie, can we play? And then you wait, right? It'll either go to yes or no. If it says yes, we're
good.
We're good. We're ready to go. We start asking you yes or no type questions.
But something tells me when it says no, most people will still play.
That's maybe when Charlie gets pissed.
Yeah, probably.
He's tired. He's got things going on.
Charlie's got alimony.
He was viral. So
Yeah.
Charlie was everywhere. So he's tired. And then with the Ouija board, when you want to end, you pull it down to goodbye, flip the planchette, put it away.
Uh-oh.
With Charlie, you have to ask him, Charlie, can we stop? And you have to wait until he says yes. And then you say goodbye. And you disassemble the...
Someone out there is still playing
board.
Charlie because he keeps saying, no, I want to keep playing.
There's not much going on here.
Charlie, I have bills to pay. Charlie don't give a shit.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's the Charlie challenge. So we're going to pause here for a moment, play a little bit of music, and we're going to set
I have
up
to
Charlie.
find music now.
We're going to set up Charlie challenge. All right?
Sure.
And then we'll be back. And
Because this is not a video podcast.
Joe's going to be the one asking the
Thank
questions of
God.
Charlie.
All right, perfect.
All right, so folks, enjoy this music. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Joe Erie very carefully set up the Charlie challenge board. The pencils are precariously balanced. And we're going to begin. I just quickly want to set the stage where we're at.
In a garage.
We are in a garage. Maybe we're in Chicago. Maybe we're not. But it feels unseasonably warm out this evening. It's very foggy. It's 38. Snow's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The Mayans were right.
As you said, we're kind of sequestered into a garage because I didn't want this stuff done in my home. I'm not really concerned about the Charlie challenge.
There are rules. This is a nom. Gotcha.
As of right now, I'm not concerned about Charlie challenge. I did not want the Ouija board done in my house. So we're in my garage. Maybe we're in Chicago, maybe we're not. As I mentioned, foggy night. It's late. I have my Corvette right next to me, so I feel good.
Really? You've been feeling so nervous with us nearby it.
So I just wanted to set the stage. And now, Joe Erie,
Yes.
will you take the lead and try to summon Charlie?
Charlie, want to play?
And as this is happening, I will
We're
narrate.
staring at it.
We'll narrate nothing happening until it happens.
So maybe ask it again.
Charlie, want to play?
Now we're supposed to keep asking until something happens, until that top pencil, until that top pencil.
Pencil. Yeah.
Oh,
Nah, that was your breath.
I left.
So the board is on a very flat surface. No one is touching the table. We're actually pushed back from the table.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of speaking away from our
It's like-
mics. Hopefully it's
it's
going
like
to pick
we're-
up, but
we're
we're trying to keep
Oscar,
this...
you want to ask it in Spanish?
No.
Oscar, Oscar
he's not
does
doing it.
not...
He's not doing it.
Oscar don't play with this stuff. I met Charlie once, and he's not a very pleasant guy, and I just don't want to ask him anything.
That was Carlito
Carlito.
in the alleys by your house.
Yeah. No. It's a thing. I don't even know why. I asked my mother because I was we're going to do this podcast about what's the deal with us not wanting to do Ouija board stuff, right? And because I was raised not to touch that fucking thing, and I wouldn't, and I haven't, and I don't want to ever. And it's just like a thing that and I don't know, it has to do with our respect, culturally speaking, with our respect to the dead, like the way we mourn or celebrate death. If that has to do with a lot of it, but somehow
Charlie,
it is just
want to play?
it is just ingrained into what, just not to fucking mess with that. And so I grew up in Chicago, obviously, and not just with Hispanics, and a lot of white people I know have played with it. And I've seen them play with it, with a Ouija board, for example. Not the Charlie thing. I didn't even know about it until you told me about it.
Charlie.
I missed that in May, thank God. And it's just funny. And I see people play it, and they're always asking me to join in. I'm like, no, I'm good. You guys have nightmares. I'm okay. We're here. I don't have to deal with that. And it's just like a thing, and my mom couldn't give me a definitive answer. She's also not like a historian. But,
Charlie.
Culturally speaking, just we don't mess with that shit.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I was under the impression you coming over tonight, it was going to be you and Joe on the Ouija board.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be you and Joe.
And when you pulled up, you made it very clear to me that you were not going to touch it.
Yeah, amen.
So, how does it make you feel that
Charlie,
we're doing this
wanna
stuff tonight?
Well, no, I'm just seeing you guys do it. I feel very much or enough removed by it. And also, just because I'm the one in the group that gets probably the least kind of affected by all this stuff, right? Although, watch, if I get something after tonight, I'm beating you all up. I hate all of you then. But I don't think anything's going to happen. Also, I just kind of take kind of things as a grain of salt. I kind of think even if I were to see something or feel something or dream something, it would bother me in the moment, of course, like it would anything. But I would just say, like, okay, it happened. Okay, I acknowledge you. Can we just move on now? I don't want this again, if at all possible. So
I understand.
Charlie, want to play?
So we're sitting here, and it's been about 4 minutes or so. As Oscar and I were having a conversation, Joe Erie is still trying to invoke Charlie. And these pencils are not doing anything. We're going to give it a few more minutes here.
We may have to cut to it, too. We can cut. We don't have to wait with dead air. We can just, unless you guys want something else to say about it. But otherwise,
Charlie, want to play?
We can just cut to it. This whole thing, though, honestly, and I guess I will be the crowning Scully of the podcast for this, because it's just like a fad. It isn't a thing. It is literally a internet thing. And I know that, and it's funny because you brought this up for today's podcast, because it mirrors two things. It mirrors the Ouija board, which is a very old game, and Charlie, which is a very recent iteration of that. It's almost like the new gen's version of a Ouija board, and they can't help themselves. They have to fucking videotape it everywhere.
Right.
And
it's also like a cheap man's version of Ouija.
Right. Exactly,
right?
Yeah, 2 pencils. Although, who has pencils nowadays, really?
You know how hard it was for me to find 2 pencils?
Yeah, but you know what? They don't
I'm
even...
serious.
Yeah, well,
I can imagine that.
My wife was like, do you want mechanical pencils? No. I want freaking number 2 pencils to take a Scantron test.
But even if it was like lead in it, they don't put lead in pencils anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do.
They're just mechanical now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie.
What do you think they do use in space, these pencils?
Charlando.
Gold and platinum.
Charles.
No, I mean,
Carlito.
right.
Oh, wait, what?
Carlito, papa. Oye.
Yeah, how do you say Charlie in
Do you
Spanish?
want to play?
What?
How do you say Charlie in Spanish?
Charlie in Spanish.
Carlito, right?
Yeah, Charlie in Spanish want to play?
These, I mean, and
Carlos. Yeah, right?
No,
I guess
Carlito.
Carlos. It'll be Carlos.
Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos wanna play.
Carlos want to play.
All right, the Latin demon's not coming out, so...
So, Oscar, Joe, keep focusing on that Charlie. So you're saying there's no Mexican demon, correct, named Charlie?
No. Not that I looked for. Not that I saw. I did not.
Charlie wanna play?
Obviously, whatever research I could do, I don't have the resources of an archaeologist, to say for sure, to say the least. I mean, and so whatever I could do in my own researches, and the people that I know that are older than me that would know folklore or folk tales more extensively than myself, they didn't have nothing on it either.
Wow.
And none of us have heard of Charlie either. So this is all kind of brand new to us. Like, oh, they did one of them. My uncle told me, like, it's just some white thing.
Some white thing. Love it. And you have family in Mexico?
Yeah.
Where are they at in Mexico?
In Chihuahua primarily, which is the state that hits Texas, right there in El Paso area. It's a big ass state, and then also Durango, which is the next state before that.
Right.
So we're in the northern Mexican area.
So you're not disconnected from tradition.
No, I'm not disconnected fully, but I mean, I was raised here. I grew up
but
on
you
Pulp
still have
Fiction.
family
I didn't.
Charlie,
Yeah.
want to play?
No,
And they haven't heard of this.
no, I don't they don't either.
Well, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We're here to figure this out.
Yeah. But I didn't ask my younger cousins who are like teenagers. They probably would know this.
Oh, they would know.
Yeah, probably.
They would know.
Maybe. I mean, from Mexico. I mean, I don't know if they would know, but maybe they would. And
This thing was all over the world.
Apparently, I guess.
All over the world.
I know.
for a month and a half.
Once you asked me to research, I'm like, what the? I've missed this completely.
Uh-huh.
May? What was I doing in May? Anything but this. That's what I was doing.
Charlie, want to play?
And just so the audience knows, these pencils, that top pencil, precariously balanced, is just sitting dead still.
Mm-hmm.
And it took Joe a while to get that balanced. So it wasn't easy. You know, so it's very anything should make that move, right?
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
not. It's dead still.
If we tap the table or like go, like it'll move.
Yeah. And we're being careful, obviously, not to do that. And it's saying dead still.
Yeah.
Charlie, want to play?
Maybe Charlie's doing us a favor. You know, maybe Charlie is fed up with all this fucking like press that he's gotten lately.
Yeah, I don't know.
And wants to start the new year with a more quiet lifestyle. I don't think it wants to come out and be aired on, you know.
Jay, by any chance, is your neighbor, is his name Charlie?
No.
Oh, because every time I say Charlie, want to play, this guy across the street keeps on saying, yeah. Through the window. Sorry, guys.
You don't really sound sorry.
Charlie, want
My
to play?
mind's cracking up on that one. So what do you say, guys? It's 1:22 a.m. Again, thank you for listening to the SOS-radio.com podcast. Good evening or good morning, depending on where in the world you're listening to the show. We're here with Oscar Spector, Joe Erie, and Sue Nhyte, attempting the Charlie Challenge, which was viral, completely viral in May 2015. Millions and millions of mention for about a month and a half. Millions of people claiming that it works, millions of people claiming that it doesn't work. And we're here doing it. And it is not working. So how much more time do you say we should give the Charlie Challenge?
Charlie, want to play?
Charlie, if you don't want to play, don't move.
It works.
It works.
You know,
It works.
I
think we
do want
solved
to
it.
say one thing, I guess, as long as we're sitting waiting. You know, I think the Charlie Challenge is bullshit. That's me, you know?
Wait, you don't believe in Ouija boards either.
No.
Though, I should clarify, the physical Ouija board.
manufactured.
Right. And we'll get into that in the
Parker
next
Brothers.
segment.
Yes.
Right.
But because you don't believe in that either, and a lot of people do
Yeah.
throughout history, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about the Charlie Challenge that you call bullshit on?
Well, I mean,
You know, some listeners right now might say
We're
there's
not
too much.
We're also not 15 years old. You know?
Yeah.
yeah,
Some listeners right now might say it's not working simply because there's too many people in the room. The lights are on.
Well,
we're having side conversations. You know, some people might say
that's
that.
actually kind of what I was going to bring up. I personally don't believe in it, but you know what? To help that case, because you know, I'm not saying I'm right. I don't believe in it, but you know, I know when I go out and I do investigations and I try to feel things, if we're joking around, it's going to kill my feeling, or it's going to push away whatever's out there.
So you can't cry on command, you're saying, kind of thing. You can't, if you can't believe it, you can't really force it. So therefore,
Yes, sometimes it's harder.
right.
But also too, even when we're dead serious and into the moment and focusing hard, the more people, the less it wants to be seen. The less people, the more it wants to be seen. And I don't know if it's because we're a group. There's
Well,
more
Charlie could also
energy.
say no. There are two quadrants for no. What the hell, Charlie? I'm kidding.
Well, okay. So going on that notion,
Yeah.
why don't we? Can we pause?
Yeah, we can pause.
Let's pause.
Okay.
Let's give it another 10 minutes.
Okay.
We don't need to let the listeners.
Right, we'll just skip. If it moves, if it doesn't, then we'll...
If
We'll come
if
say
it
that.
comes on,
Immediately.
yeah.
right.
If it
And
moves,
to them,
come
it'll
back on.
feel like nothing. To us, it'll feel like 10 minutes, but not to them.
Okay.
Well, to us it will be 10 minutes,
Yeah,
but to
or-
them it'll be a blink.
Exactly.
Right?
All right.
So going on that notion,
Okay.
let's stop the side chatter. There's nothing we can do about the people here. We're here.
Yeah.
That's it. Charlie's going to
Shut
have to
it
deal
down.
with
We'll keep on doing it for 10 minutes. if something happens.
Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah, Charlie might prefer intimacy.
Right. Charlie, want to play?
All right, guys, we're back. Charlie did go to... I can't believe I'm saying this. Joe, what happened?
All right. Well, basically, we're sitting in the corner, talking.
We got up away from the table, completely away from the table.
You know, having some drinks, laughing. Jay's smoking a cigar. You know, every about 15 seconds, Charlie, want to play? Nothing. We're like, yeah, but we're having another conversation. All of a sudden, we look. It's on yes.
That pencil moved to yes. Oscar, could you third?
Yeah, I second that. Yeah, third. Yeah, I didn't move. No one touched the table. No one went over there. We went to the opposite end of the room,
of the garage, away from the table.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. You know what?
Specifically away from the table, so no one would touch the table. Right? Having a side convo. You said, Charlie, want to play?
Yeah.
15 seconds, 20 seconds later, we looked back.
Something. Oh, yeah.
And that son of a gun moved to. It is in the yes quadrant when it was perfectly parallel to the bottom pencil.
But something that's fucked up now
the axis
is what happens if I say, Charlie, goodbye, or can we end it? What if it don't move? Is it stuck open?
Charlie, can we stop?
Well, we can't have this show forever.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
No, I see what you mean.
Did we open up a door?
It also seems like if it's heading in one direction, it'll probably stay in that. Like I think it would be the one surprising thing that would happen to us right now or today about this game, quote unquote Ouija board, whatever, is that if it starts moving the opposite a direction that seems purposeful, because right now it's just slightly moved into the yes quadrant, which can be a yes, but it also could be nothing, right? Or not nothing, but something with the lead or whatever the hell.
All right.
So, like, if I start seeing something where, like, it's a move where it looks intentional by way of, like, moving the opposite of its flow towards a yes, then I can maybe start seeing something.
Then you're going to
weird.
get free.
You know what? Why aren't we asking questions?
Yeah, I think it just caught us by surprise because
It's tax season, Joe. Ask him something about
we were
taxes.
so confused.
About what?
Or we were
Taxes.
not confused. We were so dead set on this is BS.
You're right. Yeah.
We got up from the table. We walked to the other side of the garage. We had some side conversations, poured some new drinks. Joe asked, Charlie, can we play? 15, 20 seconds later, we looked back at the table, and that pencil did pivot to yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Joe's right. Why aren't we asking the questions?
Go.
Joe?
Oh, man, now what do I ask?
I mean, no.
Charlie.
Now, they have to be an answer. You got to think of an answer that would elicit a yes or no.
Well, yeah, but this is what I'm thinking of now. Because if I ask a question that's going to be yes, it's already on yes. So I have to ask a question that possibly would be no, right?
Maybe it move more.
Would it move more
to
or
the top
that's
right
what I'm
of the
confused
yes
of right
quadrant?
now.
So let's just try it.
Charlie, are you a boy?
Or ask him if he really wants to play.
All right, so
don't ask him that.
So Joe asked Charlie, are you a boy? Are you going with the theory that it's a child?
And by the way, demons are they don't have genders.
Yeah.
The abused child, right?
Okay, so that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
So
right,
you're
yeah.
asking
That's
it
what
a
I was
boy.
going. I mean, that's
Okay.
what I was going for.
Or were you?
Ask again.
Charlie, are you a boy? Charlie, are you okay?
Ask him what he thinks about the Obama administration.
Can't. Yes or no?
No.
I don't even
Does he
know
think they're doing good?
I don't know if they're disconnected anyway with that. It's their time period, I think, you know?
So
I mean, personally, I don't believe in this, but Charlie, are you okay?
Okay, pencil is still pointed into the yes quadrant.
We're like sports reporters right now.
It's
Like waiting for the tennis.
trying not
Yeah,
to
but
keep
you know what's weird?
dead air.
I know. No, you're right.
No
It's
pun intended.
I'm going to
What
cut all
if
of that
we
air
do-
out. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
what if we just go back to the corner and go back and see if it moved? Maybe it's because we're looking. You know?
Yeah.
So you're saying get up from the table again.
Yeah.
walk away.
And start talking about the Revenant again
Yeah.
or something? And, like, pretend it's not there?
Let's not talk about Dave again.
Still staying.
Charlie, are you okay?
I swear I thought I just saw it move. Could be a trick of the eyes.
Maybe you're tired.
Well, it's lined paper. So, sitting back from this angle.
Is it college ruled? Maybe that's a big
It
thing.
is college
I mean,
ruled.
this is mainly grade school stuff. Maybe
It's
they need
college ruled
grade
notebook paper. Very simple to make. Nothing special. I thought it moved to back towards the axis, but could have been trick of the eyes.
Did you guys want to pause and try this again one more,
Yeah,
separately?
might as well.
Okay.
Or
Might as well.
Okay.
Charlie, are you okay?
All right, guys, we've given it about 15 minutes, and the pencils have not moved. We need to keep this show going. We have a very long intro, so Joe asked Charlie a bunch of questions, and it just stayed in the same position. We all agreed that it did move into the yes quadrant. Joe, at the very end, once we decided to stop, did take a picture of the Charlie board, and I will post it on sos-radio.com under photos and videos, and we'll show you guys where exactly the pencil moved to. After Joe asked Charlie, can we play for the umpteenth time? When it actually did move, there will be a picture up there of that.
Righto.
Oddly enough, when he did take the picture of the Charlie board, a very strange shadow actually showed up over the board itself. It wasn't Joe's hand, but it does look like...
I mean, it could have.
I don't know what it looks like.
It's weird because the thing there is a.
Go ahead, Joe. Explain to us.
Well, like on the front end of it though, there is. Oh, you know what? That's what it is.
So,
no, because it's not. No, well, it's,
no, not that shadow.
Yeah, but
show her the photo.
Yeah,
show her the
that's
photo
what
again.
That was.
No. Show her the photo again.
No.
Was it reflecting off of the hand?
Here. Let's see. Where the finger comes off of the one finger, like. That's
And so Joe's taking a photo on. Is that an iPhone or is that a Droid?
No, it's a Droid.
Taking a large Droid. Took a picture of the Charlie board just to show our listeners where the pencil moved to.
Yeah.
And he was holding the phone, by his fingertips, pointer finger and thumb on each side of the phone, taking a photograph down of the board, and a very weird hand shadow, looks like of a hand, like a claw. I kid you guys not, showed up in the photo. I'm trying to reproduce it now, and it can't be done. So, oddly enough...
Yeah, that's weird, Jay.
So, I'll leave it up to the listeners. Let them go to the website, check it out. You can see this straight, and he's taking another photo now, trying to reproduce. And, of course, your hand wasn't in front of the camera, Joe. So...
He was holding it with both.
I didn't see him take it, so I don't know.
Yeah. I saw him take it. I mean, pointer and thumb were on each side of the phone, just like anyone would take a photo on a smart device. And his hands were not in front of the flash. They were behind the camera, behind the flash. Yet, some claw-shaped shadow showed up over the Charlie board. Joe, I think it might be wise to ask Charlie if we could stop.
All right. Yeah, good.
No, we probably moved it. I mean, when you pass the phone.
So, I mean, number one.
Now it's moved. Now we bumped the table.
I don't believe in this, but
so
just in case,
how do you explain,
Charlie, it's time to stop.
How did you explain that photo then?
Huh?
How do you explain that photo?
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
So what do you think, guys? Is this BS? Is it possibly true? Very true? What do you think?
I don't see. What I'm thinking about right now is, I mean, I personally think it's bullshit. But I think that picture that Talia got I think we're starting to channel into some weird things. I mean, that's like a new form of energy. I know we've gotten photos like that before, where there's orbs. Okay, orbs is energy, but we dismiss those right away. We put them aside just in case. Cool. But the ectoplasmic mist, those are the ones that actually, that's the gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we'll get into this later, but I was watching a documentary on H.R. Geiger. It blew my mind.
Yeah, we'll get into this later.
Yes.
We don't have time.
Okay.
But for Charlie Challenge, what do you think? BS, true, or undecided?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I think it's bogus.
Okay, fair enough.
It is bogus.
Okay, I will third bogus. However, that photo, I think we all agreed, was very strange. So,
Yeah.
Charlie, we're quitting. If you really exist, we're quitting, and we say goodbye. Disassemble the board. Joe's moving the pencils.
We're going to burn it and
Charlie, can we
give
stop?
it our last rites.
Yeah, Charlie, can we stop?
Charlie, can we stop? Hey, Charlie, we're stopping it. All right, done it.
And
Board is disassembled.
And I think it's time for our break.
Paper is flipped over.
And time for our next segment.
Charlie's
That's
gone.
a
We're
time
going to
way
go to
to
break.
say it's
Enjoy this
done.
music.
White on white, translucent black capes, back on the rack. The little goose is dead, the bats have left the bell tower, the victims have been bled, red velvet lines, the black box. The little goose is dead.
We're back. Charlie Challenge is over. The three of us, technically the four of us with my mom in the room, all kind of called bullshit on that one. The pencil did move, and you will see the picture online. The picture did show a very odd shadow that's unexplained. After repeated attempts to recreate that shadow, can't be done. So we're going to leave that to our listeners to figure out. SOS-radio.com, photos and videos. And it'll be called Charlie. Now we're going to segue into the Ouija board. No one's really exactly sure when the modern version of the Ouija board came into use in the U.S. And I just want to clarify, by modern, I mean the board, the pressed cardboard board, with two arcs forming the alphabet. The first arc contains the letters A through M, and directly beneath, the second arc containing the letters N through Z, along with the numbers 1 through 0, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, and goodbye at the bottom of the board, and yes and no in the top corners of the board. That's what I mean by the modern version of the Ouija board. No one's really sure when it was introduced in the U.S. No one's really sure when the version came into use, but I'm comfortable saying it came into use in the U.S. myself. I'm comfortable saying it came into use in the U.S. somewhere between 1848 and the late 1870s, during the spiritualist revolution that took place here in the U.S., started in the U.S., and spread to Europe. And it all started with those sisters. Some people might be familiar with Kate and Margaret Fox, otherwise known as the Rappers, the Table Tippers, in Hydesville, New York, in 1848. That's what kicked off the spiritualist movement in the U.S. and Europe. The sisters, the Fox sisters, contacted a spirit of a dead peddler and became what we would call viral for it. They became famous world over for their exploits with a dead peddler, and that kicked off the spiritualist movement here. Now, during that time, during the spiritualist movement, many contraptions and methods were used to communicate with the dead. The Ouija board wasn't the first one, especially what we know as the modern Ouija board, as I described it. It began with table tipping, where a spiritualist would invite a group of people who wanted to communicate with a dead loved one around a table, and they would place their hands on the table, and it was called table tipping because they would ask questions, and the table would actually tip and bang on the floor, spelling out in a very primitive Morse code answers to questions that loved ones were asking. There was the table tipping. There was channeling. There were writing baskets. Writing baskets gave rise to the modern planchette, what we use with the Ouija board today. The 3-footed planchette with the glass eye in the middle or plastic eye in the middle. It started actually with the writing basket. The writing basket had two. It was in the shape of a heart, like the planchette, the current planchette, but it used two metal casters in the back that rolled, and actually had a pencil at the tip, the point of what is now the planchette, or then the writing basket, and that pencil would write out answers. And they actually also used rough forms of the modern Ouija board. Didn't look like our modern Ouija board as I described it. Letters were to the extreme opposite left and right of the boards, and a rod was placed in the middle, and the rod would pivot and point to letters. So many different forms were used to communicate with the dead, to commune with the dead, back during the spiritualist movement. And again, repeat it again, no one's really sure when today's modern Ouija board came into being. Some people say it actually started in Ohio, strangely enough. That's really what I know about the Ouija board as it is in modern. I'm not really concerned with for this podcast, the ancient origins of the Ouija board, the talking board, more ominously called the witch board. Not really concerned about that. I wanted to know when it came into the U.S., and that's the information I kind of found and I knew about for a while. Joe, could you shed any light on the Ouija board?
From what I get out of it, I mean, no one really knows where it came from. I mean, what I get is it came from Europe. You know, it came from China. It came from everywhere.
Egypt.
It came from different parts of the world. The French took the parts, everything together, compressed it to one, and then the people in the U.S. compressed that.
So you're saying the French took from many different sources and compressed it into their own type of communication method.
Yeah, their own type of version.
And then in the U.S.
All right. So basically, the Chinese had their version of witch boards. The Italians, they had their version of witch boards. I mean, just different Europeans had their different types of witch boards. They wound up. The French wound up getting an idea of these different type of spiritual talking, and put together their version of it, and basically, like a French like an engineer. They started looking at like different forms of writing. They're like, all right, cool. How can we engineer this where the spirits could talk to us a little bit better? So you know, the pamphlet, whatever, they put a pencil on it. You know, they started putting numbers. They started putting letters on it, and eventually it became of what it kind of was. Somebody got that idea and pulled it and, you know, brought it into what it is today.
And eventually, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it started getting commercialized.
Yeah, you said when we were talking offline, you said that during the height of the spiritualist movement, at one time, 25,000 boards were sold by a single store in one day. Was that correct?
In the early 1900s, that's the late 1800s. That's basically when everything kind of started coming to light with the whole corporate, you know,
what we
Ouija,
know as the Ouija,
of what the Americans known, you know, the Ouija. So basically, the spiritual movement, you know, was going on for a while. You know, people were different, like with the spiritual movement. You know, people accepted it. It was fun.
Yeah, you said it was a romantic almost engagement between a man and a woman.
Yeah, even Norman
to sit
yeah,
and do a Ouija board together.
Yeah, like Norman Rockwell, he drew a painting of it, and you know, like you know, you were saying, like it was more of like a kind of like a romantic type of thing where, you know, people would get together, and it's a way for them to actually communicate and kind of rub legs together type of thing. It was, it just meant a little something different back then. But also, too, people felt different about spirituality back then. Communicating with the dead wasn't that bad. It was
superstitions were rampant.
Abraham Lincoln's wife, used a Ouija board.
What was her name? Martha Lincoln, right?
Mr. Lincoln.
But don't get me started.
After her son died, she wanted to communicate. I mean, people looked at things a lot differently in the spiritual world.
We've definitely become desensitized today.
Until The Exorcist came out. And that's when things really got fucked up. Because basically when The Exorcist came out with, Captain Howdy, that's when everything kind of twisted. They're like, oh shit, this is the devil's play tool. So, I could say a lot about the Ouija board. I personally don't believe in it. I've tried it a million times. Nothing ever happened.
With the board
itself.
Again, that we know today, what I described.
The commercialized Ouija board.
The Ouija board that they used in The Exorcist in 1973. Yeah. That was our modern day Ouija board.
Yeah.
The way it appears today.
Yeah. Commercialized Ouija board.
But The Exorcist, that's interesting that you say that. So the Ouija board had this romantic, kind of innocent sort of persona up until 1973 with The Exorcist and Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
And what happened to poor Reagan McNeil, which was actually based off a true story.
Yes.
Okay. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. That it was seen in a different light up until that one defining moment. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Now, you say you don't believe in the Ouija board, witch board, talking board as it sits today. But
we've tried it like numerous times.
And we have. Now,
nothing.
So, and again, I got to stress that it is the board that you could go out and buy. The board we know today is the one you don't believe in. However, there was an instance, and I was present for this,
and every time I say I don't believe,
that made you a believer in summoning a spirit via a medium like a Ouija board, although it's not the Ouija board that we think of today. Mm-hmm. It was a homemade version.
All right. After numerous times of us, trying the Ouija board and is anybody there? If anyone's here, could you prove something? Or, are you like what year did you die? We never got anything. So, long story short, like a long time ago, Jay worked at a pizzeria. One of his coworkers knew somebody that lived in a house that the present owners, basically everyone there was murdered. The owner of the house,
not the present owners,
huh?
They lived in a home.
Man, we've been drinking Jack Daniels all day, and I'm really slow.
No, we haven't. It's late. That's all.
All right.
The present owners lived in a house where a man actually killed his family.
Yeah.
And then went into the garage and offed himself.
Yeah.
In the house's history.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my friends were renting the place later on after the event, of course. So now go ahead. I wanted to set it up properly. It wasn't the current people who died. It was people who the murder and suicide in the past.
So basically the previous owners, everyone died. The owner wound up. I don't know what happened. He wound up killing his family on the floor in the living room. Yep. Then
I believe it was stabbings, actually.
No. Well, yeah. He stabbed him. He actually killed him with an axe, which sounds weird, but that's what happened. Yeah. He axed him to death on the living room floor, and I
believe this was in Mount Prospect, if I'm not mistaken.
It was somewhere kind of like in the northwestern side, which probably that's probably where it would be. Yeah. But anyway, he goes to the garage and he fucking shoots his brains out.
Yep.
You didn't want to do it at first, but we like, oh, come on, let's go, let's do a Ouija board there.
We were stupid, in retrospect.
Yeah, we wound up doing it. So anyway, they're having, normally things don't happen around a lot of people, but this time there must have been at least 13 or 15 people there.
Yeah, it was a little party.
Yeah. Usually that many people, things don't happen. But whatever. We didn't have a Ouija board. What are we going to do? All right, you know what? Let's draw one out. We drew out a Ouija board, and we had a crystal glass. And it was like a shot glass, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So anyway, we sat on the floor where he murdered his family, and we started asking questions.
I can't believe we did this.
Well, you didn't want to.
Yeah,
We made you.
I can't believe we did
But
this.
anyway, we're starting to ask questions. Hey, if you're here, show yourself.
That's not a question. That wasn't a question.
Well, yeah. Are you here? Just stupid shit. Basically, as we're asking questions and kind of taunting it, the flames started getting bigger, and the candle that we had going on.
Yes.
And whatever, big deal. Candles. They could fluctuate.
It could happen.
So I started taunting it. I'm like, if you're here, show yourself. If you're here, show yourself. Nothing. I'm like, this is bullshit. And I start kind of taunting it even more and, feeding into it. All of a sudden, the front door light blew out. Boom.
The porch light.
Yeah.
Because we were in the living room where the murder happened.
Like, holy shit, did that just happen? And they're like, all right, whatever, big deal. A light could have burned out, Which, it was kind of weird, because we were asking those questions and taunting. All right, so we started, all right, well, if that's really you, why don't you do something better? I don't even believe you're here. You're bullshit. I mean, we're really taunting it. Mm-hmm. Something we probably shouldn't have done. So I say again, do something better. We don't believe you. Couple seconds later, we hear dishes fall everywhere. So basically, in the kitchen, you know how they have the dryer racks, the old school, whatever dryer racks, for plates,
washing the dishes, put it into the drying rack. Yep.
Okay, all the plates and silverware just fell off all over the floor, all over the place. Like, holy shit! I can't believe that happened. Oh my god! And
what
they didn't have
happened next?
animals. They didn't have anything.
Nope. What happened next?
Okay. So
and everyone was in the room. And everyone was in the living room.
We're all in there. Yep. They didn't have anything. And everyone's looking at each other like, holy shit. It wasn't good enough for us. So I still taunted. I'm like, you know what? That could have happened any day. Show us something a little better, I'm just feeding taunting it. All of a sudden, we started hearing footsteps.
From the kitchen.
From the kitchen, where everything fell, walk all the way up behind me. And after that, I'm like, I'm done.
You flipped the glass.
We're done.
You flipped the shot glass.
We're done.
The party concluded very quickly.
That was it.
So that made you a believer.
Oh, yeah. And
never
that was the only time a Ouija board worked for me.
But when it was homemade. Not the modern Ouija board that we know.
Yes.
I had a few experiences with a Ouija board that I don't even feel comfortable talking about, frankly. We are sequestered in my garage. I refuse to do this in my home because I do believe in it. You don't. I do. And I don't want to dredge that stuff up. I don't know if Mr. Lincoln came from my Ouija board use in high school, but I am a believer, and I refuse to do this in the home. That's why we're in the garage.
But see, when you know, all right, basically when people are real about it, is I think they'll start talking about their emotions. Like, I had to quit for a while. Like, I mean, that's how you know it's real, because you have to stop.
Well, I could tell our listeners for 100% fact that I believe it is real. When Dave and I were just starting Supernatural Occurrence Studies and getting the word out there and gaining some traction in Chicago, we had someone contact us. It was a parent of a teenager who, at a sleepover, they did the Ouija board. It was a girl. Her and her friends did the Ouija board. And shortly thereafter, they started having really intense paranormal activity in their home. Dishes breaking, just as you mentioned from our story. Shadows, voices, oppressive feelings throughout the house. And they asked us to come check it out. And I refused. I wouldn't do it. I think it is a gateway to something bad. The way I was raised to use the Ouija board, you start the session by asking, Ouija board, would you please send us a spirit? We never defined, send us a good spirit. We never made that a point. We said, would you send us a spirit? And I think more often than not, the bad ones come through. And experiences I've had prove that to me. Experiences that I've heard firsthand prove that to me. So I refuse to do it. I wouldn't do it tonight. I'm not going to do it tonight. Oscar Spector's not going to do it tonight. And he's a skeptic. Nothing happens to him.
Me thinking like
Joe, you were the only one who said you would do it. So
yeah,
a Ouija board.
Think just as you're saying right now. I mean, this is just something that came to me. Like ghost stories, or anything that you hear about people that have died or come back as ghosts. It's always tragic, right?
Not every single time. More often than not.
It's tragic or unfinished business.
That's what they say.
I mean, it's usually something that needs to be done. So the good is already passed on. So we're only communicating with the limbo. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why. Which is weird, right? I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong.
No, I get that.
It just made
weird,
me. It just made me think really quick.
Unless the good decide to stay because they don't want to go.
Well,
unless the good stay just to kind of
the voice,
help the living.
The voice you guys just heard. There was no one else to do this tonight. I was convinced Oscar was going to do this, and when he pulled up to my house this evening, he said absolutely not. So we were short. Ouija board takes 2 people. So my lovely wife, Kate Nhyte, the former Kate Sparrow, offered to come out here to my garage and do the Ouija board with Joe Erie. My mother won't do it. She's here to supervise. I'm 38 years old, and she's supervising me. She made me take off my treasured crucifix and Madonna medal and put it around my wife's neck. And one of our candles just burnt out. I want to set the stage again. We are here at my home. I'm not saying where. 38 degrees, extremely foggy. In my garage, sitting next to my 73 Corvette, keep me safe and feeling good. But for this one, we decided to turn out the lights. We're going old school with this. We are sitting in the dark. We have 6 candles lit, 3 on one side of the Ouija board, 3 on the other. These are plain, unscented, dollar store votive candles.
They're white.
They're white. I pull out 6 candles. I thought I was being funny. 6 candles, 666, the number of the beast. I was just doing it as a joke. But Joe pointed out, I unknowingly, I put 3 on one side of the board, 3 on the other. Joe's like, dude, why did you pull out 3 on one side and 3 on the other? I'm like, oh, it's 666, number of the beast, ha ha ha, joke. He's like, no, man, number 3 has a very strong spiritual, religious significance. And in fact, I did a little research, unknowing to myself, 3 does have a strong religious significance. The number 3 is used 467 times in the Bible. It symbolizes completeness through a lesser degree than 7. The meaning of this number derives from the fact that it is the first of our spiritually perfect numerals. Perfect numeral. Spiritually perfect numerals, number 3. The others being 7, 10, and 12. 3 righteous patriarchs before the flood. Abel, Enoch, and Noah. There are 27 books in the New Testament, which is 3 times 3 times 3. Jesus prayed 3 times in the Garden of Gethsemane before his arrest. He was placed on the cross, and at the 3rd hour of the day, some say 9 a.m., 3 times 3, died at the 9th hour. There were 3 hours of darkness that covered the land as Jesus was suffering on the cross. From the 6th hour to the 9th hour, both 3 plus 3 and 3 times 3. 3 is the number of the resurrection. Christ was dead for 3 full days and 3 full nights, for a total of 72 hours. There were only 3 individuals who witnessed Jesus' transfiguration on Mount Hermon. The Apostle Paul was an exceptionally well-educated person. In 3 different occasions, he quotes directly from Greek poets in the Bible. So there is a very strong significance to the number 3. I had no freaking idea. And I was a theology minor in college. I didn't know there was a significance to number 3, and I just happened to set up 3 and 3 candles.
The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And the Holy Trinity.
And the planchette has 3 pegs.
3 pegs of the planchette. Yeah.
Katie.
So Kate Sparrow, please say hello. Kate Nhyte.
everyone.
Now you are Kate Nhyte, my wife.
am.
Say hello.
What?
Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
How are you this evening? Well, actually, this morning.
Yeah, Sparrow's
yeah,
no longer.
It's pretty late now. I am well,
Kate
thank
Knight.
you. And thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us and having the gall, the guts to do the Ouija board.
I'm crazy like that.
You are crazy like that. That's why I married you. Give me a slap. Oscar's sitting quiet. He's looking a little nervous. My mom is hovering behind, kind of overseeing
Getting a little
everything.
anxious.
And as I said, we're sitting in the dark garage. 3 candles lit on each side of the Ouija board. Planchette upside down on our recording table.
Go ahead, Mitch. Yeah.
The Ouija board is facing Joe Erie. And if anyone... Now, something... before we start, something did happen right before we resumed. Something happened with the candles. Anyone want to describe that?
Well, we were actually getting a discussion about the 3s, and
Yeah, when you pointed out to me, hey, why'd you do this?
your mom was talking about the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and all the things with the 3s. As we're talking about that, we look, and one of the candles just got really dim, and the color in it started turning to a white,
Yep.
A turquoise, a purple.
Blue.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, and again,
Katie,
While
you-
the other
could
5
explain.
candles were more orangey, off-white color.
it's the normal color of a flame.
Right.
And the 6th candle did what again?
So it turned white.
And then you said blue or
Yeah,
Yes, it turned
turquoise,
several
purple.
different colors.
I mean, it was the actual. We took a picture of it. I mean, we
Yes.
could put it in the site.
I took video
you know.
too, so you could see the difference between
oh, good,
all 6.
good. I didn't notice.
But
Yes.
when we were, actually, yeah, we were talking about 3s, and your mom was talking about, and that's how you could tell it's a demonic demon in a house. And we're like, what? Well, she was saying if a demon scratches you, because you know how sometimes like people say they got scratched by something.
Yeah, they were saying
like
that
a haunting.
in St. Augustine Jail. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes if you're a haunted place and you get scratched, if you look and there's 3 scratch marks, I guess that means that that's a demon. And
And
we're like,
what is it trying to
whoa,
do with the 3?
I don't know.
Mock the Trinity? Mock the Holy
Oh,
Trinity.
to mock the Holy Trinity. And as soon as she stopped saying that, we looked at the candle, and that's when it stopped. And it started changing colors and started dimming down.
Damn. I was,
And that was kind of freaky.
and
not gonna
I'll tell you guys, being 100% honest here, it got noticeably colder in here.
I said that earlier.
I've been comfortable
It got really
the
cold.
entire time, and we've been out here for longer
The
than we've
heater's
ever
been-
been on a podcast. But
It was warmer when
I
we
was
got
totally
in
comfortable.
here.
Now that we started talking about this, it got noticeably colder. I'm noticing my breath more than I was before. So I don't know if something's upon us. We also, during this Ouija board session, I'm going to narrate just like I did with Charlie. Joking's done. This
Yeah.
isn't a joke.
Well,
Listeners, I don't suggest you do the Ouija board. We're not going to take this lighthearted or jokingly. This is serious business. Kate Knight and Joe Erie. I was so used to calling her Kate Sparrow back then, before we were married. When we stopped doing the SOS, now she's Kate Knight, of
Kate
course.
Sparrow Knight.
Kate Sparrow - Knight. Yeah. We're going to take this ultra seriously because I don't believe it's anything to play around with. Does anyone have any final comments before we actually?
No, I just wanted to say too, it did get cold.
Yeah.
And it was warmer when we started. When
Yeah.
you just put on, the heater.
Yeah, and
Could it have been the light being on? That
No,
brought
these
more
are
No,
just-
they're just
30-watt
those.
bulbs. These are simple bulbs. All right. One other thing I want to try during this is EVP. We have 3 sophisticated mics queued up right now. Typically we have 4. Dave Black is absent. So we're going to try some EVPs as well. As Oxford Spectre is producing, he could see the rhythm of our speaking in his program that he uses for mixing. So we're going to see if, while we're asking these questions, while you guys are asking these questions and I'm narrating, if any EVPs come through. Okay.
Well, Jay, what's the proper way of asking?
Opening
Yeah,
the
so I was taught to keep the planchette flipped upside down like we do right now. It's a closed session. When we're ready, we're going to flip the planchette over.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to place it right over the numbers.
Over the numbers. Okay.
Yep. The in this case, the
So the pointer up.
of the the point of the planchette's going to be pointing due north.
towards me.
Okay.
Yep, towards Kate Knight.
Towards the letters.
Yep,
Okay.
towards the letters. And we're going to say, Ouija board, could you please send me a good spirit?
Make sure we say good.
That's something I learned later in life. As I mentioned, we used to open it up. We were trained to open up with Ouija board, please send us a spirit. We're not designating good or bad. And more often than not, it's saying bad came through. So we're going to try to start the session with Ouija board, could you send me a good spirit?
All right, let's
And
do
you're going to
this.
keep your fingers, both hands, just the tips,
lightly.
barely touching. Board's on a level surface. Bodies are moved away from the table. The only thing that is going to be touching that planchette are the very tips of all 4 of your fingers. All 6 of your fingers.
You know, something I want to mention too.
You see,
is,
guys, what I'm holding up? These 3 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Pointer, ring, and that weakest finger.
Yeah,
Ring finger.
something I want to mention too is when I was actually doing research on the Ouija boards. You know, they started off wood. They didn't have the felt like they used to. Now they're making them kind of like just paper thin, like waxy. They're a little bit more slipperier.
The board
you know?
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of better. You know, I think for, you know, electromagnetic or, you know, energy. But we just bought this board.
Yeah, good point.
And
Good. Yeah, this was recently purchased by Parker Brothers.
Yes.
Who on the cover of the board says for ages 8+, and it says family.
Yeah.
8+ and family. I think that is horrendous. This is not a game. This should not be used with children. This is not a family entertainment piece. I personally think it's evil. It's bad. It's not good.
I have mixed feelings. You know, some like the older Ouija boards. Sometimes history kind of builds itself into it, and things kind of find it and kind of bind to it. But also too with this newer Ouija board, since it's brand new out of the plastic, about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Yeah, because
it's smooth, and you know, I mean, it should be working the best.
Yeah,
because it's not worn down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And you're right. It is brand new. I thought we had one in the house, but Katie reminded me that we threw it away. We got rid of ours because bad, negative things were happening. What would you say? 15 years ago, maybe. Katie, last time we used it?
The last time we used it, I was living in an apartment, and you and I were in my apartment on the floor asking questions, and if anybody was around, and the board spelled out RAGE. Do you remember that?
I do.
And it gave a number of an apartment nearby.
That's right.
And I was like,
Captain
okay,
Quartz.
that's enough of this. I'm going to put this away. I don't want dishes flying in my house.
Yeah.
So I put it away, and then when I moved in with you, your mother said, no way, get that out of the house.
That's
I don't want it
right.
here, so I had to throw it away.
That's right. So that's why we had to go out and buy a brand new one. I swore there was one here, but this afternoon I called you, and I said, hey, where's the Ouija board? And you reminded me of that story. That's right, Rage and the apartment number.
Yep.
That's right, and you had nothing but problems in that apartment, too.
Outside of my apartment, yes.
Yeah, with people and...
Right.
Yeah, it was So the board was trying to tell you something. All right, guys.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yes, and if one of you guys are ready to write stuff down just in case. So.
Okay. 3.
You said north, right?
Yeah, the planchette point is going to be
Yeah.
facing north, which is you.
Me.
One of you guys ready to write stuff down just in case?
Sure.
All right.
Yes. Yep. I have my
Ready,
computer
Katie?
open.
And Jay, do you care what questions I ask about the property, or?
Just don't ask anything about my family. That's all I ask.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. 3, 2,
1.
1.
Let's do this.
Flip. Okay, they're placing the planchette due north. The eye of the planchette over the numbers. They're doing pointer, middle, and ring fingers of both hands on the planchette, barely touching.
We did circle 8. No.
No, I never did.
Okay.
Just leave it alone.
All right. Is there any good spirits out here?
Ouija board,
Ouija board, Ouija board. Would you kindly send a good spirit?
Please, good spirit.
You can see their hands are barely touching that planchette. Barely touching that planchette. You can see it from across the table. Say it again.
Ouija board, could you please send us a good spirit?
I'm telling you, it's getting colder in this place.
Right.
I'm freezing.
If there are any good spirits in this room, you're just trying to communicate and get any messages you have across. Is there anything that you would like to say?
Sometimes the opening takes a while. Spirits are channeling through. It's not instant. It's not like the movies.
Ouija board, can you please give us a good spirit?
Joe Erie is not even looking at the board.
Look at my arms. Take a picture of this. I'm feeling shit, but I don't believe this.
I can see. There, I just took a photo.
Did you? Okay.
Hair standing up. My mom actually had an experience when she was early teen in her home on Potomac Avenue here in Chicago's Yuki Village. Her and a friend were doing the Ouija board, and when they opened the session, the planchette shortly thereafter shot completely off the board, rocketed off the board, and she hasn't touched one since.
Ouija board, please send us a good spirit. Don't come to me, come to the board. Is there anybody here?
Don't take your hands off the planchette. His arm hairs are sticking straight up. You can see it.
Don't come to me, come to the board. You don't need to be afraid.
If anything is here, you could actually speak into any of the microphones that are pointed around this table. If you're here, tell us your name. If you're here, tell us or spell out your name.
Yeah, don't be afraid. If anything's here, let us know. Give us a sign. Don't come to me, come to the board.
Hearing strange
Yeah, it's weird.
crackling noises. Don't know what that is.
If there's anybody here, let us know. Give us a sign.
Talking to these microphones. Let yourself be known.
Who do you want to talk to? Come to me? Shit. Don't come to me.
Use our energy to push our through our fingers on the planchette to move it, to send your message.
Who do you want to talk to?
Fingers still lightly touching the
thing is that when you
planchette.
told me to raise my hands up, I felt like a pressure under my palm.
Keep asking.
Who do you want to talk to? Don't come to me, come to the board. A couple times I asked it, and I felt like, ugh, to me. But
What did you feel?
no, I mean, obviously you saw my arms, and I just felt like a little something. But then it comes, and it goes. I think it's nervous. Don't be scared. We're doing this too. We just want to know. If there's anything here, communicate with us.
Let our listeners know that you're real.
We want to figure you out too.
Fingers lightly touching, wrists are off the board.
Have you
Candles-
been in this garage at all tonight?
If there's anybody here, please let us know. Do you think we need to prime it first? Figure 8 or no?
Explain what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, when I was a child and did this, whenever we did this, we would always do a figure 8. Okay, we move. What's it called? Like the pamphlet or the
Planchette.
Yeah, the planchette. Okay, in a figure 8. What that would do is build up static and energy. Almost like, for an example, if you're wearing slippers and rubbing them on a carpet and you touch something, that static sparks. So you're building up that static.
Okay, I like the word you use. You're priming it.
Uh-huh.
We never did that, but okay. So
I
right
think
now,
we did that when we were in the apartment.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't remember. So they're doing the figure
Do a
eights.
little faster. Because basically, yeah, I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right?
I do. Yeah, it's worth a shot. Because
Rubbing
it
your
wasn't
slippers
moving.
fast.
It was not moving.
Yeah, rubbing your slippers fast on the carpet and then touching someone.
Or using a balloon in your hair.
Exactly.
And pulling the balloon away with your hair attached to it.
Exactly, and it's energy.
Yeah.
So we need to, get this energy going.
Okay, so they're priming the board, to use Joe Erie's term, doing figure eights right in the middle of the board,
We're good, you think?
and they stopped. Again, they're on the numbers of the board.
If there's anybody here, let us know. Is there anybody here? I know you're getting stuff or no? I hear all that stuff too going on.
What was that crack? Yeah, it's a crackling noise.
Yeah,
that
but
keeps
it's
coming
been
through.
other things in here. I mean, maybe it's nothing, but I've been hearing stuff too. I just want to know if he got it on his,
If there's anybody here, if there's anything here, if there's any spirits here with us right now, let yourself be known. You have two methods of communication. Simply speak into the microphones or spell out a response on the board. Channel yourself through Joe and Katie.
Are you not strong enough to communicate through the board? Is there anybody here?
Are you scared to contact with us?
Yeah, we're not getting
Going on
nothing.
there.
Huh?
Nothing going on there.
Yeah. I've never had any luck on Ouija boards except for that, that one time.
Don't give
Can we,
up.
Like,
Don't
was
give
it on
up.
paper? Paper and pen? When you made it.
Yeah. Okay. If you cannot communicate through this board, can you communicate towards something else? Could you let yourself be known if you're here? Did you die on this property? Is there somebody you're afraid of? Who are you afraid of? I know I'm asking the right questions. No. Who are you afraid of? Why don't you want your self to be known?
We're only trying to help you. Are you just here so you could listen to all the ghost stories we tell?
If you're here, make a noise. Knock on something. Knock something over. Let us know you're here.
Yeah, I think we're going to end this session. It's done. My arms are getting tired.
Pull it down to goodbye.
All right.
Drag it down to goodbye.
We don't want to talk anymore. We don't want to communicate.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Flip it. All right, so in that session, a couple weird noises here. Crackling. Oscar, were you getting feedback? What was that crackling? You heard that crackling. It sounded
Yeah, it was
like
towards your
reverb.
car.
Hey everyone, Oscar here with an editor's note. Mysteriously, for some reason I can't fathom exactly, in exporting the file, it failed. Essentially, I'm not exactly sure why. It was a corrupted file, and we were able to get up until where it got cut off, and here I am explaining. Real quick, Joe and Katie did attempt a second try with the Ouija board, but nothing worth mentioning happened, unfortunately, for you guys. But regardless of that, the only thing worth mentioning is the fact that the audio from the second session was lost. We apologize for the inconvenience. This is not a trick or anything. I wanted it up there. I tried to save it in any way I could, but I didn't find out until the next day. Anyway, again, we apologize for the inconvenience, and this is just be the outro, and have a good evening. Bye.
All right, thanks a lot for listening, guys. If you want to contact us, you can always visit us online at www.sos-radio.com. You can email the hosts at submissions@sos-radio.com. Call us at Chicago area code 872-529-0SOS, 872-529-0767. Follow us on Twitter at Chicago Ghosts. Follow Jason, SOS-Radio, Nhyte, on Facebook. That's Nhyte, Nhyte. Follow Jason Nhyte on Google+. Again, that's Nhyte, Nhyte.
As always, kind listeners, keep your head up, eyes open, and question everything.
You want to save your soul from hell, arriving on our range. Cowboy, change your ways today. Oh, with us you will ride. The devil's herd.
Sometimes they don't. They just forget because they're like, we're practicing or
Are
whatever.
you recording now, right now?
I don't have to say anything.
Okay. And so, this warm up, we always take at least an hour to warm up and get our thoughts and get loose. And he'll take stuff that's funny from that warm up period. Sometimes, like you said, we don't even know he's recording.
Yeah.
And then he'll put those into the outtakes and slap them at the end.
That
And
whiskey.
I'm thinking, do they know?
Or every time Dave messed with you in the beginning in the intro.
Oh my god, I could have killed him.
I know.
I don't know why I said, is that weird? That sounds funny.
It's going to be so nice today without Dave. I love him. He knows that, but he's just, wow.
Made their own, like when like the pantlet or
Planchette.
the planchette.
Planchette. There you go.
The planchette. The
Planchette.
They
Sounds like a...
Like planchette.
Yeah,
Like planchette.
they had like basically it was like medium like engineers, like engineering. And
I like my
designing
planchette with
different-
meat sauce.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like a Mexican tube steak or something, right? Or what was that called? The planchette, right?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking
Well,
about.
Italian planchette.
Same shit. Too. Oh, same stuff too, right? Yeah.
No, I knew the whole time. I'm just messing with you. Yeah.
Right? And we're trying to do a quick EVP session, say, while we're doing the Ouija board.
Well, if Dave is not here, so this is the time to be quiet.
Right.
This is the right time.
You should, in theory, be able to see if something records, correct?
I don't know. It's a Mac. I mean, usually ghosts prefer PC. This is just me.
No, but seriously.
It's not really compatible.
You should
It's a
be able
closed
to
system.
see that, right?
Yeah, theoretically.
Okay.
Never done it myself.
Who knows?
We could bring something.
Frank?
I mean, I'm sure that Corvette killed someone out there.
Christine. We just took a break. Oscar's recording. He edits all that out, and then we'll clear up.
Yeah.
I'll narrate.
Yeah, this isn't live, thank God. It would be fucked if it was live. It'd be so fucked.
I'll narrate as you and whoever.
We couldn't have Dave here. We
And
just
then
couldn't.
I'll
it was
and then
live.
I'll text Katie. She said to text her when we're ready to.
You know what? And maybe it's a good idea. Like, we could be like, we decided to do this Ouija board thing, because Dave's not here.
By the way, this is all outtakes. Every time we say Dave's not here, I've heard like 50,000 times. I'm going to put it every time we say it.
Poor Dave is gonna cry.
Dave's not here.
Oh yeah. My mom's on the podcast.
Yes, she is.
That's cool.
It's like Marty Scorsese putting her in Goodfellas, right?
Yeah, oh right, yeah.
No.
I'm trying to.
And
get,
Casino.
No.
Sister.
My mother, my sister, my daughter, my sister. I love that movie so
The
much.
Fox sisters. They call them the rappers.
The rappers.
They were really good at Chris's rapping. Like, really good. Like, uncannily, amazingly at it. And they can also do Eminem really good.
So what do I feel like? I feel like I'm missing something. And I don't think so.
Your vet, it's okay. Your Corvette's okay. It's okay, Jay.
And I'm going the full boat here. When it comes time for, maybe we don't have to do it for Charlie, but it comes time for Ouija. We're lighting candles. We're turning off the lights.
I saw the candles, yeah.
We're gonna go the whole
I
way.
mean, what are you
see,
trying
that's
to
like-
do to me? I think my mom's gonna know. Like, just
She's gonna come home and
instinctually,
just smell
the
Ouija on
fucking
you.
the Ouija on me.
I
Yeah,
don't like it either.
Yet here you are.
that's how much she likes you.
Make sure nothing happens to you guys.
She's a supporter.
She's gonna slap a ghost.
She's our biggest fan right now.
Okay. So
They were not foxes, you can say that too.
I don't know. The one in the middle looks kind of cute. She looks like Lily Sobelski.
How long has it been for you? Do you see them? Do you see that picture?
Lily Sobelski.
Yeah.
You know who she
what
is.
is it?
A total Miss
happened?
fucking universe, that one.
Who's the
What happened to her
diehard?
career?
To who's?
Lily Sobelski.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
Look
he,
her
I don't have internet.
Get on my hotspot.
I don't want to do that.
Technology.
That's work. You know, I can't run multiple programs on this thing before it'll fuck up the recording.
Please don't fuck up the recording.
I don't want to.
You really don't? Okay,
So just fucking tell me.
I can't remember the Glass
I know,
House.
I read so much.
Wait,
so
what?
kinda
Come on.
like, you know,
From Eyes Wide Shut, right?
and no one
That
really
girl?
knows.
Eyes wide shut.
You know, the eyes were completely shut widely.
This is her.
Yeah, that's her.
Lily Sobelski.
She was the one that in the costume shop in Eyes Wide Shut that Tom Cruise went into. Yeah, no, she is.
Can't believe you didn't know Lily.
Well, she hasn't made a hit in a while. Pollock.
Jackson Pollock.
Yeah.
People thought they were
You need notes to talk about it, right?
bullet.
And like I've said 10,000 times, we get better as we go. Don't worry, you'll get better at it.
He's really hard on himself. He's always been hard on himself.
I know. I used to be hard on me too. And then I gave up giving a shit. And then my shows turned out better because I stopped caring. Like, okay, I know what I'm going to talk about. I know I hated the movie. I'll
See,
tell
this
you
is my
why.
whole problem with Dave. He doesn't want to do notes. He doesn't want any of this.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to do any work.
I know he doesn't
just
want
wants
to
to
do
come
work.
in and
He's like the Luke in my
I
group.
read all day today.
But still,
All day
like they have their thing.
and I appreciate that.
Well, you got to know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Right facts on what you're talking about.
Shot. Where'd that?
Shot?
Where's my shot?
You need a shot?
Joe poured out shots. I didn't get one. I didn't get my Moon Man. I didn't get a shot.
You didn't get your move.
Isn't there? There's a glass right there, right?
That's mine, man.
No, the other one is just.
That's a clean glass?
And also fix me up there,
Ma,
Chief.
are you good? Joe didn't bring you a glass. What a jerk.
Yeah, he
Dude, what is that?
Well, you don't want one?
That's like, it's going to put me to kill me. Here, pour a
Wait, how
lot
much-
less. Let's
how
give
much-
that one to Oscar.
Oh, yeah, give that to me. You don't have to drive home.
Are you good?
Are you staying over?
No.
No.
We can
Why?
sleep together. It's gonna be cold, so I
Actually, I have someone else to sleep with. That's why I'm heading home.
Here's the episode 6. Episode 6. Here we go. Salute. Salute.
Yes.
Eyes, eyes, eyes.
guys.
Salute, mama. Oh, don't make me get up, mom. Okay.
You make your mom get up. Think about that. Wow, fucking ungrateful. Or ingrate. I don't know.
Oh, I can't even slam that.
That's
Really? No, I can't slam it either. I'm sipping in it, but it's good.
don't. Dude, you sip.
Yeah, I said.
Charlie, don't touch me there. Gotcha.
Well, what if I want him to? Is
How
that
do you
weird? No.
No, I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
And
3, 2,